Hey everyone, Jennifer Lee Chan here from NBC Sports Bay Area. And wow, very disappointing season. The 49ers finish 6-11. Not what anyone would have thought was going to happen at the beginning of the season. Spoke to Nick Bosa and Fred Warner, and both of them said it was an embarrassment this season. They allowed the Arizona Cardinals 47 points, which is the second highest points allowed in the Shanahan era. They lost to the Arizona Cardinals 47-24. It is the second week in a row that they allowed 40 points or more. Uh, just really embarrassing. And this is not the defense that we are used to. This is not the offense that we have been known to see. And frankly, it's just disappointing. Really disappointing. There's a lot of decisions that need to be made. Um, I know I was, pretty much thinking that Nick Sorensen was going to be back. But now seeing what they've done in the last 3 weeks since I asked Kyle Shanahan, how much confidence he has in Nick Sorensen, he said, I have a ton of confidence in him. Things have kind of changed since then. I asked Nick Bosa, how do is Nick Sorensen the man? He's like, I think he's a good coach, but, that's not my decision. That's what Nick Bosa said. So if you kind of read between the lines, not a huge vote of confidence, kind of lukewarm. I asked Fred Warner, is Nick Sorensen, is he the guy? Actually, I didn't ask it, so another person did. I asked him if the season was embarrassing, and he said, absolutely. And he said, it just from, what's happened and what the expectations were. Fred Warner said, for as long as I've been here, I've always known that playing dominant defense, and I can't speak for everything else that has gone on here with this team this year, but it just hasn't been good enough, not even close. To be a part of that, knowing that I'm out there every game and it still isn't good enough, obviously that's a gut punch to my own pride. Obviously, I'm going to do everything to make it right. And, you know, Nick Bosa, kind of embarrassing. It's like, it doesn't feel good. It's hard to look at the guys in their faces as a leader on this team, and that's the product we keep putting out there game after game. It's pretty embarrassing. So, I mean, right there, two team captains embarrassed about the performance of the defense, and George Kittle said, yeah, it's us not being good in the red zone and not giving away the ball, and then the defense not getting takeaways. I mean, the fact that they don't have any turnovers in their favor in 7 games, that's a really long stretch to not have even a forced fumble. Or, there have been times where balls have gone into their hands and then there hasn't been an interception. But honestly, it's one of the toughest droughts that I've seen in a long time. Um, Jake Moody did a little bit better today, missed one, but ultimately, I think the special teams missed on a fake field goal, or fake punt, and ended up getting a first down, and they ended up scoring. I mean, I don't think Brian Schneider is going to be with the 49ers next season. And it's kind of a question now whether Nick Sorensen will be as well. I think they need to bring in competition for Jake Moody, because letting him just um, be where he's at, not the best idea. So I think competition for him is the best thing. But the 49ers, man, they're just battered and bruised, and um, 4 or 5 more guys went out at the end, throughout the game and didn't come back. One of the disappointing things, of course, about the game was Juwan Jennings not hitting 1,000 yards. He said he didn't do anything wrong. He said it was a normal block, pancaked him, didn't throw a punch. It's a regular blocking, didn't do anything wrong. So, ejected from the game. He didn't get any response on why he was ejected. So I'm sure we'll hear from the league shortly. They'll give kind of that information about a week out from the game. So as we go into the off season, we'll kind of see what happens there. But there are a lot of questions on this team. How do they fix the defense? I asked Nick Bosa, I said, man, I mean, I don't want to say that one person made a huge difference, but having Drake Greenlaw on the field next to Fred Warner, I mean, that made the biggest difference. We saw what the defense could be like for a half of a game until he went out. So, it's guys trusting each other. And I don't think that it's just Dre Greenlaw. It's what Dre Greenlaw brings to the defense, right? When he's on the field, Fred Warner has trust in the fact that everything on that side of the field is going to be taken care of. There's trust in everyone else that there's not going to be coverage busts, that the run is not going to get past the second level. I mean, there's so many elements to why Dre Greenlaw being next to Fred Warner makes the huge difference. So just a tough season. And locker room cleanout is Monday, tomorrow. We'll get to talk to a few more guys. We didn't talk to Ricky Pearsall. Um, he said he wasn't feeling well. He was sick with an illness earlier in the week, missed practice. So, um, excuse me, tried to swallow and breathe at the same time. Um, Josh Dobbs, not a great game, not a bad game. Kind of mediocre, kind of what we thought of him. Two touchdowns, two interceptions, 29 completions off of 43 attempts. Yeah, it was okay. Um, Patrick Taylor had a really impressive game, 17 carries for 109 yards, 6.4 yards per average. Great job for the fifth running back on this team. Talked to Isaac Rendo after the game. He was on crutches. He says he's concerned about the knee, but he was in a lot of pain, which makes it seem like it could be a MCL as opposed to ACL. ACL, normally guys don't feel any pain. So he was on the in the locker room, crutches, seemed in decent spirits. So we'll kind of see what happens. We'll hear more about that in the coming days. Kyle Shanahan probably won't talk on Monday. He probably will talk on Wednesday or Thursday when he's made some decisions about the coaching staff and who he's going to keep and who he's not going to keep. So expect that later on in the week. But we'll have more for you tomorrow from the locker room, and I'll talk to you then. All right. I know everybody's frustrated and embarrassed and not happy with the season, but on to the next, on to 2025. All right, everybody, take care. Have a good night.